Hello, this is Michael with GY6, and today's focus on is trying to get that RPM gauge to work, and we're going to see what's happening to it, why it's not actually picking up. But again, it could be possibility that we actually upgrade to a Jing CDI, and which has its own direct ignition coil that goes direct. We didn't use this external direct ignition coil again, which to say that probably picks up on. Normally your RPM or your tach-meter reads by pretty much sensing that, the pulse coming from your fired spark plug, it's there. So since we cut it off and it's all built into this Jing one, which only has 3 wires, which we connected to when we spliced our original CDI that had original, I think, about 4 or 5 wires. So you can see here the blue wire tapped into our black and white wire. It's somewhere hidden there, you can see. There you go. And then our red wire, of course, is our positive battery, and then that's connected to our black wire, which on the Chinese harness is your positive 12 volts. And then our black wire coming from the Jing is connected to our green wire, which is our ground, our negative wire here. So you can see there. So there's only 3 wires that we tapped into to existing CDI, but you notice that this is the stator. The blue wire going to the black and white is the stator pickup wire, and I can trace it back here. You can see here's a stator harness right there behind me, how it runs down from here. So if you look at it, I'm going to trace it up. You can see there that these two, you can see that what we call the bullet connectors here. This one is turned into a different color, but you can see on the other end, I don't know why they do that to confuse you more. This is blue and white, but when it comes here to where our CDI is connected to our Jing one, it becomes black and white. So you got blue and white, and then all of a sudden comes the next white. So that right there is our pickup wire that we tapped into back from our Jing one. The blue wire goes into, if I can show you again, see there is black and white, and it matches the black and white here that's going to our stator pickup. And now what we're going to do is we're going to troubleshoot why we're not getting, we are getting some kind of voltage, AC, coming from our pulse here all the way to the circuit board, I believe. But I'm going to go ahead and show you basically how to troubleshoot everything, and then we'll learn to go from there, and then we'll also know if it actually starts. I took it apart already, so I know exactly what's the mechanism in here already, and I just kind of winded it myself. There is a little spring and a little, it's sort of like a spring coil or something like that. You can wind it up, and then it automatically comes back down its own smoothly. So let's go and fire it up and see if the RPM is still not working. Maybe I shook some dust loose. If not, we can definitely show you how to test your voltage going into the proper line. So we're going to turn on our key. Make sure our fuel line's turned on. I always forget this because I don't have a manual. I don't have an automatic petcock. I have to do a manual turn. Fire it up. This is a cold start here. I kind of got my engine too right. It's going to calm down in a second on its own. See all our lights here? Oh, you know why? It's not all properly connected to our gauge cluster. So I'm going to go ahead and reconnect everything back. You can see here, the gauge cluster. Those 2 right there need to be connected. That way it will read. So let me go ahead and connect them back. Let me just turn off the engine real quick, pull the switch. Okay, so yeah, I just took this off just to see how things are going, and I forgot to go ahead and connect the back, so I'm going to go and connect the back. I marked them, if you notice, D2, D1. That doesn't reference a standard code or anything. I just put that for my own reference, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the back. Go ahead and connect the back here, see if you can watch me from this angle. Okay, so let me get the wire harness. Again, this is coming from the gauge cluster. This is all the wire harness connecting to your main scooter right here. D1, I call it D1. D1 here, and then you get D2 here. You can see the connection types. All right, so I'm going to go and connect that back in here. So you get focus there. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go and connect this back. This actually, again, is the same wiring harness type for our alarm system, which would have been plug and play. The minute I connect it, the lights start lighting up. Watch, you'll see it. I'm gonna tap this, so you can see the lights up right away. So this is actually the one that actually giving the pulse and the DC and AC. See that? See, that does connect. Push it back in, loosen it up a little bit. See that? Our battery meter's going good. Okay, and then the D1 right here. So our AC pickup wire is coming somewhere here in the middle. It's like, I think it's the red and black, red and green one. So I'll show you how I test that and found that one out from the green wire going to our RPM gauge cluster here. That right there. See how it's actually yellow and black? It's the same yellow and black that used to hang over here on the external ignition coil side, and the one I also cut when I tapped it here. I can see here it's tucked in right here. You can see a little bit here. Get something to probe it out of there. There we go. You can see here on the other side, it's black. This is the wire that we tapped in last time, and it didn't give us any ignition spark because it's rewired differently. Not all Zenons are made, and this was our ignition coil. We needed the pickup line to actually go to our, we needed the pickup line for the blue wire, the Jing one, to go to the pickup line of the stator one, which again, it was actually the black and white one you can see here. It changed to us. When it got to the actual stators, it turned to blue and white. So you can't really go from these things. But anyway, this one's the direct ignition coil. It's the same continuity here as it is right here. See that? That color? But mind you, look, the color changes again. It becomes red, red and green. And that red and green right here follows to here. Sorry, I can't shove that anymore. Let me take it in here like this. Okay. That red and green right there, if you can see it, it goes to that D1, and it falls right there in the center slot right here. See that? There's that red and green wire again. So that's the same right there. So we know we're getting AC voltage when we're testing that out. It's when we raise the scooter, it goes up. I'll show you in a little bit here. And then the other ones, the other wires, the other three is coming to it. This is your pretty much your negative ground, your green wire. And then, of course, you have your positive battery, which is black. They code it differently. So don't get those right there confused, because I was too, but I realize now the Chinese scooter use black for ground, or positive, I'm sorry, and a green for negative or ground. So, all right, so we're going to go and put this guy back in there as well. You can see the lights is still lit up. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this guy here. I'm going to try to do it again. Here we go. Get your focus here. You can see it. Okay, so excellent. Okay, so now all the gauge clusters plug in, and then we're going to take. You're going to need basic tools really to remove this if you need to take a gauge cluster out. You know, some Phillips. It's also the gauge cluster is all Phillips as well, as far as my scooter model anyway. So you need a Phillips and a multimeter. So here we go. We got our multimeter, and now let's go ahead and fire up the scooter again and see our gauges, our RPM. If it's still not raving. Okay, turn on the kill switch, hold down the brake lever. Can't wait to install alarm. I heard that it'll just auto start for you. You can actually keyless drive, so we'll see how that one goes. Alright. Blowing. Oh, our spark plug is almost out, that's why. See that right there? It blew our spark plug blew off a little bit. So let's push back in. No, let's push back in. There's just smoke coming out of there. Quite a bit. Figure out. Alright. So here we go. Our high beam set on, which is working. There we go. You can see, actually you want to tilt the LED 3 and 6 and 9 degrees. So the LED needs to face this way, and then that LED needs to face this way. Don't focus it up and down like that. That's not for low beam or high beam, or low beam driving light or high beam. You know, you want to focus at 9 and 3, like on the clock. So your LED needs to face this way, and then needs to face that way. You can see I got mine pretty close. It's a little slanted upward a little bit, like this diagonal, but it's still around this area. Okay, so that's when I'm going to go and turn off my high beam. You can see that. Only that high one is up, and this one's low. It's not coming. So let's go and rev up our engine. You can see how the engine actually went calmer now. See that? That's when you got dialed in. Okay, here we go. Our gas gauge is working. It's now at a quarter tank. It was at full tank at one point. So here we go. See that? So our gauge cluster is not working, but you can check the voltage on it. So let me go ahead. See that? How it comes back to stop? That's where it should be. It's like, it's calmer. After we raved it a little bit, gave it a little fuel. Okay, so, okay, now it died. All right, so let's see here. The gas is coming in. We probably have to dial in our engine a little bit more. So we'll do that right now. We'll probably increase the idle so it won't die on this. Okay, so let's do that. And mine is very convenient if I don't have this closed. So let me go and open this right here. And we'll get that dialed in. I could get the enricher screw. But I probably want to just dial in this part right here. It just might be a cold start. It needs to warm up everything. It maybe give it a little bit more juice. But I want to be able to not die out when it just starts. So put this aside. Turn this guy here. Get my Phillips on it. Might as well. Tighten it a little bit. It's fine. Okay, let's see how this one does. We'll leave this one aside here. Alright, so here we go again. Now let me just put this away nicely. That way we don't lose it. Okay. Got my insurance, everything ready. I even got the license plate mounted. So it's ready, legit. You can see there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to check it to make sure there's voltage. And you can just set it to DC for right now. Okay, so we're reading nothing right now because our probe's not on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probe the line. So we're going to take one of our probes. You know, if you're not polarity sensitive right now, don't worry about it. Your multimeter is not going to do anything harsh to your testing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in the green wire here. You can see there, right? I got my voltmeter. Then the green wire. Okay, now I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this to ground, or it is probably both ground. So it might not read anything, so I need to actually attach this to a positive battery. So what I can do is just come back here, and I'm assuming that that black wire again is going to be a positive. So let me go ahead and insert this other probe right here into the positive. Okay. Okay, it's inserted now. You can see there. Okay, so I got it on the green wire, and I got it on the black positive wire. Don't worry about the reverse, it might be a negative reading. But there you go, see I got 14.59 volts, and it's charging. So it's fluctuating right there, see? So that actually, that right there, that connection from here to here, we know it's for sure is good. Now it doesn't mean entirely good from the gauge cluster, because that necessarily just means maybe it's still a bad solder from the wire to the joints here. But we know we got a good one. Now I want you to show you what that yellow and black wire reads. You're gonna have to turn it to AC. Okay, we're gonna take this off. Okay, we're gonna still use our ground. Okay, let's go ahead and take this out. Let me see if I can get it off here. Got a good wedge in there. Okay, so now we're gonna do is take our voltmeter, our multimeter, and we're gonna hit the select button. You can see here it says DC. When we hit select, it goes AC right there, okay? So now we're gonna check to see if AC voltage. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and probe this into yellow and green. I think yellow and green, right? Oh, yellow and black. Keep on mixing it up because they keep mixing it up. Okay, so we're gonna probe into the yellow and black wire. Okay, now my, okay, I'm gonna do it right, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and put the black on the ground. Again. Now you can get some alligator clips too if you want. There we go, I got it in there now, I wedged it in there. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the positive, and I'm gonna take it and stick it into the yellow and black wire. See a little bit here. And get it in there. Okay, there we go, it's in there now. And look at our volt, now this is an AC, correct? So this is what's reading. And it's connected to, again, the green wire going to ground, the red wire going to that yellow and black wire. That should be like a pulse wire for AC. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm gonna rev the scooter. Here we go, I'm gonna rev it right here. Watch it climb. See that? The scooter's jerking off. You can hear it, the more I rev it. So that means our AC line is good. So let me go ahead and take this off. Well, we know that the connection to this point of the harness is good. Okay, so let me go ahead and shut this off for a second, what else we're gonna do. So you can see here, now I got, I'll talk over the scooter noise. So you can see here, I tapped it to the green wire, which is our negative wire, ground, and then I put the positive lead here, and I tapped it to the yellow and black wire, which is our AC pulse right there coming to our RPM. So what that tells me is this harness is good. The continuity anyway is delivering the voltage that we expect, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the whole gauge cluster here up to that point here on inside the mechanism here, it's still maybe a bad solder joint. So we're going to investigate that. But before we even do that, I think we have one theory that we could probably troubleshoot and have not to worry about all this. I think we need to actually bring the pickup, because normally this one connects to the external, like I said again, the other wire. So if you want to see that, the continuity check, I'm going to show you. You're going to set your voltmeter. Continuity means it actually is jointed line. So let me go ahead and put this voltmeter here, that way you can see it, what I'm talking about. And you can set it to where it beeps for you. Now I was guided by APM Scooting, and he's hopefully going to put up a video soon to show you a little bit more in detail, but this is the basic here. Okay, so that's open line. That means my leads are not connected. The minute you touch it together, you can see what it says on the screen too, by the way. OL just stands for open line. Okay, watch, when I touch the leads together, you hear a slight beep, right? That's how you know that the lines are actually supposed to be, they're connected, they're not broken. So when you're testing for making sure there's no break in your line, that's what you do. You'll set it to ohms, and if you have a little select button here, just go where it says volume. See there? I just keep pushing it, and there you go. I got my volume now. So what I want to do is, since it's a little bit longer, I'm going to go and turn my steering wheel this way, and that way you can see the line what I'm talking about that actually runs. So I got some alligator clips here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and test the continuity. A little harder to test it from a little standpoint, but I will stick one of the probes in there. So let me go ahead and just stick the red one, that way you guys won't be confused too much of the power source. So I'm going to get the red one out of the way. There we go. Alligator clip that. Try and match the color code. Just for aesthetic, really, or just ease of referencing. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let's connect it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to see this green wire here. Unfortunately, this one right here, there's no contact, so what I'll have to do is probably just use the probe. I'll just do that. I think I could probably squeeze a probe in there in the distance. So let me go and get the probe in there. By the way, you remember this other one here? It had a green wire here, which is going to ground, but it also had another wire here. It was like the same color. It was yellow and black, and it was tied to this end, which also was our ignition coil wire that had its own little wire that go into this spark plug. So we had that in there. So, but we're going to test continuity. So I'll show you how to test continuity to make sure those two wires are connected. Again, you have your meter set on ohm, and you have it set to a little beeping noise to help you indicate, so you can't really see what you're doing. So here we go. I'm going to probe this. I'm going to try, well, I can't really do much here because it's steering wheel, but let me go ahead and put that in here. So we're going to test that little yellow and black wire and see if it's the same. Okay, I think I'm in. All right. Yeah, I'm in the center wire there. I'm in the center wires. See that right there? Okay, so that's center wires there. Okay, and then we're going to leave this hanging out here. We're going to need the other black wire. Okay, so here we go. The minute I test it, you're going to hear it beep. Okay, here we go. There's a little exposed wire here on the tip. So you can see it's the same wire that's supposed to run to our CDI for our ignition coil. You hear that beep? And now this one's tucked into, but it was actually a little socket just like we had for our LED light, but I flexed it downward and I put tie strap in there, but I can actually still get through it. I just need to poke through it. So here we go. I'm going to try to poke through it. Let's see. It's the same wire. Oh, it fell. But you know what? How you could tell? I could show you it's the same wire because I'll use this one right here and I'll put a probe here and you'll see it still beep. Okay, here we go. Open line, ohms. It's still audio. Okay, I'm going to probe it here, 1. That way it shows you that that same line that we thought that was the ignition, direct ignition coil, was the same black and white line that was going to our CDI, or was going to our original CDI. So since we cut it out, and when we installed the Banjing, we had a built-in ignition coil here, and they only gave us 3 wires to work with. It didn't give us a trigger wire or a tack wire. That's probably the reason why our RPM is still not getting the correct pulse it's wanting. So let me see if I can go ahead and show you now. Let's lay it on here like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I got the probe. I think it's making contact here where that other wire used to be. I kind of folded it down. There's 2 wires again, was splitting here, and the ground wire is going here. So I kind of tied it or wind it up to the, not tied it inside the exposed wire, but I tied it with this insulator, and then I heat shrink it so it wouldn't make any contact or anything. Okay, but I can still get to it. I can just probe it this way, okay? Hopefully it's making good contact there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and touch the other wire, and then you'll see the reading on the meter if it shows any kind of reading continuity. If I can hold my hand still enough, huh? Here we go. Let me see. See if I can get this higher. Sometimes you wish there was a rubber grip on these things. There we go. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to go and touch it. I'm going to try to be still as possible so you can see the whole thing. See that? It's the same wire. Sorry, see? Behind you. Yeah, it's not the best angle here. See that? Continuity wise, they're running the same wire. Since remember we touched this before, and then we also got that one right there, and so it's the same continuity. And I'll also show you the continuity of the other one too. Let's see, if you want to know where that harness is going for the gauge cluster, sorry, for the gauge cluster right here. So let's say if I put my probe, let's find that one. See, it changes color in this end. It actually stays the black and yellow one, but on the very top, again, it changes to, what was it? Green. There we go. See that? It changes to the green one right here. But you can always grab it from here. See that little black and yellow wire here? The continuity is good. It's making contact. So let's see if I can probe it. There we go. Now I know why they make these little things sharp, because it's good for probing stuff like this. Okay, so I'm going to try to probe it here. Okay, so I got it in there, I guess. It's wedged in there. Okay, so the probe is in there. It's on one of the black and yellow wire here. Now I'm going to come over here and also probe the black and yellow wire here, and you'll hear it beep. So you want to check to make sure that these wires and their contacts are bringing, you know, whatever they're supposed to bring in, the pulse or voltage, or see that? You hear it? Sorry. There you go. And that's again, it's probing the black and yellow wire. So that means the whole contact harness here, all the way from here, is working. But we already tested that even all the way from this point. So that means that whole wire harness here, it's all pretty much good continuity there. So we have no problem there with continuity. Now what we're thinking is how we're going to bring a pulse wire, whatever needs to trigger it, right? So we need to actually tell it that we want this blue wire perhaps, because normally you can get your tack meter, it connects to this blue wire here, which also from your original CDI, which is also tied into your CDI original box, and it also has ignition coil wire attached to it because it's external, like this one right here. And normally your RPM gauges somewhere along the line is connected to all that setup. So that's how it's bringing its pulse. Now, I'm not sure where the voltage of the AC is coming from, because I tried to test out the stator wire, and I couldn't get any of the continuity from any of these orange wires to the yellow and black wire. There's just none continuity. I can show you just to make sure. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put that in open load again. It's on volume. We're checking for continuity. You put on ohms. And let me go ahead and place this in. Let's go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probe it one in. Okay. Here we go. This is better. It's easier to get to. So there we go. I got that here. It's making contact. Okay, now I'm going to touch our yellow. I think this is like the key wire here that we need to really figure out in order to get our RPM working. So I'm going to go and tap it so you can see my setup here. Zoom in. See that? See the black wire still in there, right? And I'm going for the red wire here. I'm going close to this one. See, no continuity whatsoever. None. I'm making good contact. Don't believe me? I'll use this one as well. I'll go inside this one because this is also the black and yellow wire hidden. See, no continuity whatsoever. So I'll leave this in here. Okay, I'll leave this in here like this. And then I'm just going to keep probing. See that? I'm sorry. See that? No continuity. So there's no point in the stator at all that this thing makes continuity from that wire. Of course, we know the blue and white wire is our pickup coil wire, which transfers to a black and white wire at the end, so that's not going to relate. That will probably be connected already to this one here, this Jing CDI one, blue wire. And then this is just our ground or negative wire here. So that's it. That's all the wires coming from our stator setup, which winds up right here in this little bundle where the magnet is. You see there in the back. Oh, sorry. Let's see if I can show you. See that little tuck of wire? That's it. It's all there. It's just that little tuck of wire.